evening, everyone. This is our November 8th general meeting. If you would all please stand for the pledge of the flag. My left. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call, please.
Mrs. DeCapua, President. Mr. Atway, Vice President.
Here.
Mr. Campbell.
Here.
Mr. Smallwood.
Here.
Mr. Wilkerson.
Here.
All right. We are going to start off with some fun stuff today before we move into some superintendent report. So let's go with our introduction of our student Rotary of the month, and we're going to go ahead and start with 8th grade, Mr. Rubin.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Judd Rubin. I'm the principal at Canfield Middle School, and I'd like to welcome and Cole Barber to come up next to me. He is our 8th grade Rotary Student of the Month. Okay. So Cole was nominated by his social studies teacher. Just an outstanding young man. Truly one of the kindest and nicest students that we've probably had go through the middle school. Just always looking out for others. Just attention to kindness, attention to detail. He's been an office worker for how many years now? Two years, and just always friendly to the people that come in. He works so well with the others, the office staff and everything, so we're just really proud of him for all of his accomplishments. I asked him what his favorite subject is. It's science. He likes understanding things and experimenting. He lives with his mom and dad. He has a dog named Boomer and 2 older brothers, and one of the things he likes to do with his family is they like to do movie nights. When he gets older, he'd like to be a world traveler and maybe look into forensic science as a career. He's currently taking 2 high school level classes, physical science and algebra. And I'd asked him for one more thing. He likes to run and participate in track. He's been doing the 100-meter dash and the 4x100 and likes to just kind of chill at home and listen to music. So we're extremely proud of Cole Barber, our Rotary Student of the Month.
Congratulations, Cole, and to the Barber family. Dr. Potts from the high school.
Mr. Rubin's taller than I am, so. All right. Canfield High School is honored to announce that Ava Arundel is the CHS Rotary Club Student of the Month for November. Ava's a senior with a 4.0 grade point average, and she's done it the hard way. Taken honors classes, AP classes, and CCP courses throughout her high school career. She's an incredibly busy young lady, as she's a 4-year member of the speech and debate team, where as a freshman, she qualified and competed at state. Ava's also involved in Key Club, Y Teens, Chemistry Club, Drama Club. I had to get a breath in between all these. National Honor Society. She was a junior class officer and is currently a senior class officer, as well as being vice president of the band. She even does the morning announcements at the high school. So, Ms. Print, we may have to start charging her rent because she spends a lot of time here at the school. It is rumored, though, she does stop home and see her parents now and then. So, I hope that's true. So, Ava's still weighing her options for college, where she plans to become a physician's assistant. So, we are honored to have her, and congratulations, Ava.
Congratulations to Ava and the Arundel family. Mr. Lavery.
Good evening. My name is Travis Lavery. I'm the principal at C.H. Campbell Elementary School here in Canfield, and I am pleased to announce Luca Abrazari as our Canfield Rotary Student of the Month. Now, Luca is joined here today by his parents. He also has a brother at home and his dog named Louie. He is hoping to one day be in the NFL or become an engineer, and he loves playing football. Now, when we're looking at who our Rotary Student of the Month is going to be, we have everybody on staff put nominations in. And this is what his nominee stated. I am so very proud to nominate Luca as our Student of the Month, for he is an absolute blessing to have in my class. He displays kindness, maturity, integrity, and beautiful character in everything that he does. Luca is an exceptional student who excels at the top of his class in all subject areas. He's a dedicated learner, a loyal friend, and a very talented athlete who displays outstanding qualities of leadership and sportsmanship. His dedication toward learning and his positive attitude and enthusiasm towards taking on challenges make him an example for everybody. He's humble, yet extremely kind-hearted to all of his classmates, as he's the first one to help someone who may be struggling or may need support. Because of his warmth, his manners, his gentleness, he's also the first one to be chosen for a group activity or a partner project. His gentle heart touches everyone who has the privilege of knowing him. He's very thoughtful and accepting of his peers and never shows judgment or impatience for others. He displays pride and integrity in everything he does, and I commend Luca for who he is. He is truly a gift and a blessing to everybody who touches him. We are very, very excited to have students like Luca at C.H. Campbell Elementary, and very, very pleased to announce him as our Student of the Month. Congratulations, Luca.
Congratulations, Luca, and to the Abrazeri Flaming. Mr. Flood.
Good evening. Michael Flood, Principal of Hilltop. It's my pleasure to introduce Pierre Latimer. It's one of those things, every month we go out to a luncheon and celebrate the Student of the Month. As soon as I came back that day, Mrs. Woolley said it's her turn, and she picked Pierre right away. So she could not wait to pick him. He gets along with everyone, and she says he's such a pleasure in class. His favorite subject is math. Lives with mom, dad, Raphael, and this year's a little unique. They have actually an exchange student, Caesar, in all the way from Spain, living at their house. When he grows up, he likes to visit Disney World, and his favorite things to do is soccer and play video games. And then this year he's going to try out some basketball. So I told him I'm going to give him some tips, bring him down to the gym. Maybe he'll beat me someday. So our pleasure to introduce Pierre as Hilltopper of the Month, or Rotary Student of the Month.
Congratulations to Pierre and the Latimer family. And congratulations to all of our Rotary Students of the Month. Just for the fact that I know it's a school night, and if those students and the families don't want to stay beyond this point for the meeting, you're free to leave, but you can also stay and enjoy the exciting agenda that we have that follows. All right, next up, we will go with our superintendent's update.
All right, thank you, Mr. Atway. So I'm going to bequeath my normal 10-minute presentation or so to some board discussion tonight. So I thought I'd get the ball rolling maybe and then turn it over to everybody. First of all, obviously we're disappointed about the results from the bond issue last night, but I want to begin by expressing my appreciation to all the community members that participated in this facility process. We've had people all the way back in January that met at that educational visiting session, to months of facility committee meetings, to months of levy committee meetings. That group did an awesome job educating our community on what the bond issue was, what the cost was going to be, what you were going to get for that. And I just wanted to acknowledge that group tonight, and especially Patrick Scully, who was the levy committee chairperson. Well deserved. There were times where I told him I'm talking to him more than my wife. And that was accurate, though. I know the marriage counselor's in the room. Probably that's not a good idea, but we spent a lot of time communicating. I want to thank him, especially tonight. So the million-dollar question I've been getting last night, today, even from the media, what's next? Okay, what's this going to look like? Well, We'll have some discussion tonight, let the board kind of weigh in on that, but just a couple things from my perspective. As we're sitting here talking, our buildings are not getting any better. That's the reality. Number two, I view myself in my position as being the voice and the advocate for 2,500 people, and that are our students here at the Canfield Local School District. And whatever direction this board gives me, I will promise you we will move forward and do everything we can to get that accomplished. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Atway.
Thank you. I appreciate the thank yous that you put out, and I think it's worthy of echoing those sentiments once more. So in regards to just thanking the committee to support Canfield Schools and the levy committee, people don't know the amount of work that they went through and the amount of time and effort that they put in. And I think when you look at the definition of selfless and you ask someone to model it, this committee did just that. And I can't thank them all enough. And I think it's worthy of going out and individually calling out individuals that were a part of the committee. And I want to be able to kind of call out names for all those that participated. If I miss a name, I apologize. If I mispronounce a name, I apologize. I'm going to do my best. But I just wanted to thank all of you for everything that you've done, for the countless hours that you put in, for time that you spent away from your family and the obligations that you had to juggle. It did not go unnoticed. I was a part of that original committee, and so was Bob. And so what we got to see and how it came to fruition and what you guys did out there with the community to educate and put factual information out there was beyond impressive. So thank you. And with all those individuals, some of them are here, and hopefully we'll give you all a round of applause at the end here. But to John Schuler, thank you. Miranda Johnson, Hannah Morrison, Kristen Palm, John Tosi, Richard Duffett, Jason Henry, Bree Fitzgerald, Emily Molesky, Jim Osso, Chris Robinson, Lex Calder, Jeff Lunger, Judy Palermo, Dave Mullane, Stacy Madison, Katie Elford, Marie Rupert, Rachel Tosi, Beth Sitch, Julie Webb, and last but not least, like Mr. Knoll said, the guy that probably didn't know what he was getting himself into when we kind of volunteered him to do this, but Chairman Pat Scully. So thank you to all of you. It's greatly appreciated. And I know that big question of what's next is out there, and I know timelines and dates are all tight for next steps, and I think this discussion is necessary because that's the committee is asking, the community is asking, and obviously the 60-40 loss was not something that we were expecting or hoping for, but I don't think our problems are going away from a facilities perspective, like you said, and we need to be able to continue to move forward with some ideas and options going forward. So I'll turn it back to you as to what else you think we can kind of need to know from a dates perspective or actions.
Yeah, I want to share with the board some options moving forward and just get your input. This was news to me, but we look forward to 2024. There is a March 19th election, March, and the one in November as well of 24. If the board would decide to move forward and put something on the March 19th, 2024 election night, there are some strict guidelines and protocols that we're going to need to follow. Okay, the first one is there's a special needs resolution which we will need to pass prior to November 20th. So my recommendation is let's pass it tonight. You're not committed to put anything on the ballot in March, but in order to do that, this resolution would have to be done by the 20th. Instead of calling a special meeting, we could just bless it tonight. So I have it prepared. And I'll ask the treasurer just to kind of go over real quick, what is that special needs resolution? Why do we need to do that?
It allows us to borrow in excess of the debt limitations because we meet certain statistical data. So otherwise, we would only be allowed to borrow 9% of our valuation, which is about $65 million. And if we would put something in excess of that on the ballot, we need permission with this special needs resolution. So that's why we would be asking for that this evening.
Thank you.
And we've done it the last two elections as well.
Yeah, so like I said, I have that on the agenda. Okay, my recommendation is going to be we just go ahead and bless that tonight, and if this comes to fruition, then we're ready. The other part of this is because you have Board of Election dates and timelines, we would need to have everything in, all the resolutions by December the 12th. So our next board meeting is until December 13th. So if we do decide to go in March, we're going to have some special meetings prior to December 12th to pull that off. Now, one reason why you might choose to do that is this. The current master plan that we have in place, the entire cost set, all of that, expires prior to November. Okay, so if,
2024.
November 24, yeah, so if you say, hey, we want to go with the cost sets we have in place right now, we would have to go in March, because when we get to November, everything gets thrown back in the hopper. The equity ranking, there's going to be an increase in construction cost, obviously, by that time as well. So that might be a reason why the board would say, okay, let's don't wait for that, let's go in March, and let's move forward with whatever plan you guys would choose to go with. So those are like the big talking points that I wanted to share with you tonight, and then take any questions or allow some time for conversation on that March 19th and November 24. So I'll turn it over to you.
I would just want to make sure the community was clear, anybody is here in the audience, that if we'd approve the resolution you have today, that's non-binding in regards to what we're saying for the March election. So it's just a part of the process.
Yes.
I think understanding that the state has, date requirements and obligations, this is forward thinking, and then we could potentially pull back. So I can appreciate that, and I also know that probably, we want to be able to solve for this sooner than later. So, I mean, that's.
I mean, I think because we've got new board members in, I mean, I'm okay with putting on the resolution for today, but I mean, there has to be conversations with the new board.
Right.
I'm not gonna, this is not something that I'm gonna end up dealing with. It's not something that Bob's gonna end up dealing with. I think it's important that the new board members are gonna have to weigh in on whether that's something that they wanna do as well.
I think that's a great point. And so for that, from a clarity perspective, because I see our two new board members in the audience, so congratulations and welcome to you. So that's the Alquest, Steve DeMilo, congratulations and welcome. Look forward to working with you both. But what I guess the bigger question would be, if we went through this process to just be prepared, and then come January when the new board members are on, we could potentially pull off if the majority of the board
Yes.
says no. So
Yes.
it's not, we're still not binding anything at that point.
The problem is you can't go back in time. If we
Right.
don't do it now, you don't have that option.
Right, okay. So I think that piece
Right.
would make sense, just because I know they can't act.
When are the resolutions for the amounts due?
It would be, if we go in March, they are due before December 12th. So
See,
we're going
this
to have
is
to
the
have
problem.
special
I mean,
meetings to do that.
is the plan, there are three potential scenarios. One is $50 million, we're putting new roofs on all these buildings and throwing Band-Aids and lipstick on the pigs. So that's option number one. Option number two is something in the neighborhood of $80 million, where you're replacing the middle school, you're putting the new roofs, fixing the foundations, fixing the windows and so forth in the other three buildings. Because you can't, despite what was said on social media, you can't just put up a middle school. I mean, we have buildings, my daughter sent me a picture of leaks that were happening out in the cafeteria in this building. These roofs are all end of life. We've got HVAC issues, you've got foundation issues. If you pass something that's just a middle school, what are you gonna come back in 6 months and pass something to fix all these buildings? So, I mean, you're talking $80 million for that scenario, or a repeat of what we just did, and we know that's probably even gonna be more money than what we just talked about. So, the problem is, we need to have that scenario in place in terms of the money side of things.
And that would have to be decided by December?
If you're
exact
going to
plan
put
has to be
something
decided?
on March 19th, we have to have all the resolutions done by that December 12th date.
And the plan couldn't be modified with a discussion with the new board members at that point?
Yeah, but the dollars can't.
Yeah, once we decide on the maximum dollars, now you could decide on the components of the project, like, I guess to Mr. Wilkinson's point, if you decide you just want to do a middle school with some renovations, that could be in there as well. And then the bigger point is, you could pull it all off the table anyway. So,
I think that just from the pulse of the committee that I've heard, working with them, it's, the question, the debate right now is gonna be, do we miss on an opportunity in March? And do we hold out until November, because that is quite a long time? Or do we try to be forward-thinking with what different possibilities we can have?
No, I'm with you, Nader. I think at the very least, we gotta pass the resolution to, have that further discussion and modify where need be, and
But I wanna make
get
sure
the
we'd be
new
able to
board
do
members'
that.
input, right, and be
Yeah.
able to pull it off. If we don't do that, then we are waving white flags saying we're not gonna even address anything new, a new plan, new segmented plan,
Yeah.
until next fall.
right.
But again, so if we said, if we declare a certain amount of money by December, whatever it is, 12th, are we stuck with that amount? Is that the amount, period?
I'll get clarification from the
Pretty sure.
OFCC on that. Patty, do you know that?
I'm pretty sure once you set that
You're in?
amount for that resolution, that's the deadline
Right, right,
for Board of Elections and
So,
I mean, the problem is you've got to have those numbers prior to December 12th.
so there's no flex, Patty. So if we said, let's say we just said we wanted to lock in up to 100 million, but if we wanted to scale down to 70 million, we can't scale back, we'd
I
have to
don't
stay
believe
locked.
so. We can double check
yeah,
that, but.
we'll confirm.
Okay, because that, if we could do that, I think that would make sense just to go through the process to make sure we're secured. But if we can't adjust and modify and scale back to what the new board and the entire board would want to do at that point,
And
then
my
I think we have to.
understanding is you have to use that existing valuation still. You can't move forward and use the higher valuation and a lower millage amount. Isn't that what the attorney said, Joe, when we spoke with him a couple weeks ago?
I don't recollect that, actually,
That, because we still wouldn't have those values.
until
They
January.
wouldn't be put in
Yes.
until January by
So
the
you
auditor.
still have to use the existing,
7.5.
And that's when you put the wording into play.
Right,
I mean, I don't know. It doesn't sound to me like this is a
I feel like our hands are
viable
tied, right?
the
situation.
March date is really a killer.
Yeah. It didn't used to be that early,
Well, that's the problem, we got, those May days are gone.
yeah.
Moved out to March because it's presidential. November's presidential.
I mean, the problem is the language on the ballot is gonna say whatever, 7 point,
It's gonna say 7.5 million.
Yeah, and that's
if
not.
if it's the same
that
amount of
was a-
money, and
Yeah, that's a defeat, and
not-
then it's not even worth
yeah.
the time and effort.
But I think we educated our folks on that wasn't gonna be, the.
Well, I don't know.
the amount of
Yesterday,
numbers, so-
we were still fielding,
Were you?
oh yeah, absolutely, all day long.
Okay. Well, I know we worked hard trying to articulate that message.
Yeah.
We worked hard.
So,
Everybody worked hard, but some people don't wanna listen.
There's no way to ask for extension on deadlines.
No.
I mean,
not-
come
not-
on.
yeah.
Wha-
No,
how-
the Board of Elections, they have that 90-day, 120.
Right, Lex? You would think we should be able to ask for some extension.
I don't think they're gonna cooperate with us on that.
I think what we ought to do is we ought to pass the resolution that's required
Okay.
today, because, there's no going back, as you
Right, right,
mentioned.
right.
I think we need to find out the answer about the flex on the
dollar
The
amount.
dollars.
dollar amount.
Yep.
This millage thing is a big deal. Like, I think that's probably one of the biggest deals.
Yeah.
And then I think we need to have some meetings with the new
Right.
board members. We can have them, 2 at a time and
Have some conversations.
chat about that, yep.
Yep. Okay.
I think our hands are a little bit tied with deadlines and dates, and, but if there's no flexibility, yeah, I would agree with you. Anybody else? All right. Thank you. We can move to the presentation of minutes. We have the October 11th minutes that we've got in advance, so if I can get a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second,
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mr. Smallwood?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkerson?
yes.
Mr. Atway?
Yes. And the treasurer, it is up, you are up for reports.
For the next couple months, we're gonna do 2 months at a time to get caught up from my absence in the past couple meetings. The first cash summary report for July, I'm not going to discuss because it's continuous, so we'll talk about the August one. But if you look at the check payment register in July, there are several payments for various software subscriptions for the year. You'll notice some of the companies in larger amounts, as we are subscribing to many of those across the curriculum. The purchase order register, which is really long because all the orders for the year are in there at this time. On page 1, the first 3 items are carryover items, and then the next 10 pages are the annual purchase orders, which are the ones that we set up for the entire year, and then just pay down on them, such as utilities and so forth. And then the rest are the normal purchase orders. And the investment report, you can see there's the rate in the sweep account is 5.4% in July. In August, it is actually 5.6%, and our total August earnings were over $100,000 just based on that sweep account. I don't think I've ever seen that in my tenure here. And the rates are actually still going up on those sweep accounts. So going on, the cash summary report for August, general fund is sitting at a healthy balance because most of our real estate tax advances for the second half of 2023 were received. All right, any other comments on that? And the check register for August, there's a few items on here I'd like to point out. On page 1, halfway down, Jim Santini for $76,000. That's a payment toward the secure vestibule at the high school. On the second page, toward the bottom, Sterling Distribution for $33,000. That's for a truckload of paper for the year. And 5 items below it, Nichols, $30,000 is custodial supplies, which they're becoming very expensive. And then on the last page, Safe Haven Defense, see $44,000. That was for the safety film for the windows in all the buildings that we used. We paid out of the safety grant, the federal safety grant. And that's all I have to comment on, unless you have any questions.
Anyone have any other questions?
The investments are impressive. They used to be 0.2%, 0.3%.
Yeah, it's amazing what a difference the earnings are on that. Really helps out the budget.
Is there a way that they can make us $105 million?
That would be a lot of investments.
Probably could do it if we had $500 million in the bank.
There you go.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you, Patty. Can I get a motion to approve the treasurer's reports for July and August as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mr. Smallwood?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkerson?
Yes.
Mr. Atwood?
Yes. Next up is our public participation. Let's see, we have a couple people signed up. First up, Lex Calder. Come up, state your name, please, your address for the record, and then you do have 3 minutes to address the jury.
Lex Calder, 145 Willow Bend Drive. Obviously, like you said, last night was a bit of a disappointment. We were all, the committee got together and kind of hung out, watched the numbers come in. The good news there is that it did go up by 15% from where we were last time. Completely different way we ran it, and it was the way that, you know, a lot of us felt it should have been the first time around. Obviously, the marketing was much more open, and, you know, obviously going door to door makes a difference. It felt a lot more people were supportive than we thought, and very few were like slamming the door in the face. I encourage you guys to make moves faster than slower. It's really hard, and I understand that, you know, we don't have the millage you can even calculate because it's not released till January. So I can see that be a binding issue, but we've got a lot of upswell people that want to join in. And we started off with like 87 in the group that Pat had, and we kept paring down, because for weeks we were meeting on Thursday nights, meeting Saturday mornings. You know, I don't want to start this again. In fact, we kind of agreed we're going to take a week off. Once we collect these things, we need to kind of take a breather. But we're ready to jump back in, and we want to start getting this back out there early. I think the numbers you're putting out, I mean, we've had this discussion before, that $80 million around there seems to be where people are like, they know they need the middle school. It's kind of putting good money into bad buildings. Doesn't solve the 4-building issue, doesn't solve the security issues, but in the end, $0 is doing nothing for us. So if we can't do everything, we're gonna have to do something less, and it's not the most sound financial moves. There's gonna probably be more levies, that means in the shorter time frame, to try and do the things that in 20 years, you know, could be fixed now. But we have to get something done now, and I think that's what the direction we have to move in. So we're ready to get back together with you guys and look at it with TDA again, and say we already had a lot of different things on the board, but they were all doing the same thing. So the scaled back option, I think, is our only way to go. And I hate it, but unless you get the votes, it doesn't matter what we do.
Thank you, Lex. And thank you again for everything you guys have done. Jason Henry.
Jason Henry, 30 Montgomery Court. Just a couple quick things, following up on what Lex said. Very disappointed, but likewise, understand that we need to move forward. There needs to be something done, and whether it's March or November, whatever, working on existing plans, you can do it by March. Anything new is going to be very short time frame to try to do anything, you know, for that. My second thing was from a board perspective and what can be done. One of the things that I found disappointing, troubling, whatever, with the legal problems that boards of education have had in Ohio with suits and what the school can do for itself. And I don't know if there's a group of boards of education that is looking into, you know, legal options or whatever, but my perspective is that the state of Ohio has told school districts like Canfield, you're on your own, fend for yourself. You're not going to get the money, and when you do get it, it's not going to be enough. So go out and do it. And then with the legal ramifications that have come down, they've tied your hands and said, okay, go do it, but you can't do anything to help yourself. And, you know, to me, that's an impossible situation. And I don't believe in the impossible situation. There needs to be an option for one way or the other. And the funding from the state has been broken for 30 years. I don't think that can be fixed, but maybe there's something in the legal channel that I don't know that our Board of Education is in a position to sue the state of Ohio. But, you know, if there's a collective or somewhere to say, we need to be able to have a school advocate for itself. And I don't think that we were given that option this time around, where the board and the school district itself, you know, as simple as putting a sign out front that says vote yes. If the school can't say vote yes to support the school, I think it's harder to get people behind it. So I would encourage the board to see what's out there, what options we have, because going forward, we have to do more to try to get the community behind us. So, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Can I just point out, so just to be clear, so we belong to an organization called the Ohio School Board Association, which has actively been opposing this. I mean,
Yeah, fighting back. Yeah.
the problem, and this all just happened. Like, this isn't something that really existed. This thing came down, we found out about this thing in like July.
The law was there, but it was never interpreted
Yeah.
from the auditor state as it is now, two or 3 months ago.
Yeah, and they came out with that ruling that basically, I mean, Mr. Knoll couldn't even go to meetings. I mean, there was serious challenge, there are not was, there are serious challenges around this. So, but I know that the OSBA is working on behalf of all the school boards because, I mean, the entire state is opposed to this. 620 districts?
Close enough, yep.
622 districts are opposed.
Yep.
But I agree with you 100%.
Thank you, Jason. All right. Now we will go to new
Personnel?
business. Yes.
All right, so we'll do some personnel. So we have a resignation of licensed staff, Ms. Diane Tucci from C.H. Campbell, a fourth grade teacher, retirement effective date of June 1 of 2024, that's Exhibit 1A. Some transfers reassignment for a licensed staff, Ms. Lisa Rapp from Title I tutor to a long-term permanent sub for grade 1 teacher at C.H. Campbell, effective August 17 of 23 at $222.543 per day. Letter C, transfer reassignments and classified staff. Mike Jones is going from the high school afternoon to the night shift, and Richard Fanzo from the high school night custodian to the afternoons. And I'd like to approve classified subs pending their background checks, found exhibit number 2. Ms. Shirley Miller-Leo, exhibit 2A, and Jamie Sin, exhibit 2B. And finally, our hiring of extracurriculars as per the attachment exhibit number 3A. All those individuals as presented.
Based on the recommendation of the superintendent, can I have a motion to approve the personnel resignations and hirings as outlined in A, B, C, D, and E, and the extracurriculars that are outlined in E?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mr. Smallwood?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkerson?
Yes.
Mr. Atway?
Yes.
I'd like to recommend the adoption of our policies. This is our second reading. Those are found in exhibit number 4.
Based on the recommendation of the superintendent, can I have a motion to adopt the policies as our second reading as presented in exhibit 4?
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mr. Smallwood?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkerson?
Yes.
Mr. Atway?
Yes.
And I'd like to recommend the adoption of resolution number 35-2024 between the township and the city to share the costs related to the SROs. That was exhibit number 5.
Based on the recommendation of the superintendent, can I have a motion to adopt resolution 35-2024, which is the SRO agreement as presented in exhibit 5?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mr. Smallwood?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkerson?
Yes.
Mr. Atway?
Yes.
And I'd like to recommend adoption of resolution number 36-2024 determining the district is a special needs district. That is exhibit number 6.
Based on the recommendation of the superintendent, can I have a motion to adopt resolution 36-2024, determining the district as a special needs district?
So moved.
Second. Second.
Any discussion?
So once again, this resolution just allows us the opportunity to move forward in March if the board sees fit.
Very good. Roll call, please.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mr. Smallwood?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkerson?
Yes.
Mr. Atway?
Yes.
And I'd like to recommend approval over some out-of-state overnight field trip requests. Our bowling team going to Heritage, PA on December 27th to participate in the tournament. The high school speech and debate team to Upper St. Clair, PA, participate in the Three Rivers Tournament, February 9th through the 10th, provided lodging is paid by an outside organization. And the speech and debate team again going to Worcester to participate in the 2024 OSDA State Tournament, February 29th through March 2nd. Those are all found in exhibit number 7.
Based on the recommendation of the superintendent, can I have a motion to approve our out-of-state overnight field trip requests as presented in exhibit 7?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mr. Smallwood?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkerson?
Yes.
Mr. Atway?
Yes. And finally on our agenda is our donations. Did you want me to read those, or do you have them? We have them?
November 2023 donations, Chad Sienna, $250 for the playground beautification project at the middle school. Mark Davis, $200, Kate Farragher Memorial Trust Fund for the Arts. Then we had several students at the high school with $3 donations to the art club projects. I don't need to read those, do I? Total of $516.
Very good. Thank you. Can I get a motion to accept our donations for November?
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? Thank you to all those that donated for the particular projects that were outlined. Roll call, please.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mr. Smallwood?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkerson?
Yes.
Mr. Atway?
Yes,
Can I share one more comment?
you sure can.
Before we close, I just want to remind everyone of our Veterans Day Assembly here at the high school on Friday. We're going to showcase our band and choir, have a special presentation for our Vietnam veterans in attendance. Obviously, welcome our local military personnel families to come, but anybody in the community is welcome. So that'll be Friday morning, 8 a.m., right here in the auditorium, with a nice breakfast to follow. So if you can attend, we'd love to have you.
Very good. At this point, can I get a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.